Hey, I'm Ted Santos from Straight Talk, and we come to you every Sunday live. And we are the talk show made for men by men. And we always like women to be part of our conversation because that is how you get men and women to come together as a team. You have them sit at a table and talk, and Straight Talk is sort of like a virtual negotiation table for men and women in relationships. So we are always talking about relationships from a man's perspective. And normally I'll do videos and I am announcing a topic for a show. Well, today I want to do something a little different. And I had some thoughts, and it seemed to be a little more complicated to write those thoughts down, so I thought I'd actually talk to you about them. And this is kind of a message for men, and it actually would be good for women to hear it. So, fellas, I really need to tell you, I understand that oftentimes women like to play games when you first meet them, and it's the whole cat and mouse chase, and you gotta have game. When you go with that, you're really kind of letting the woman lead you. She's setting the pace for the relationship. And if it starts as a game, that's probably what's going to happen to keep her. So what I'm really saying is if you're a guy and you have your head straight, that's number one, having your head straight, right? Being logical, educating yourself, and that could be with or without a college degree. You can look at Steve Jobs, who was very educated, and he only completed one semester of college, except that man, without question, was educated. So, and if I add to that, most college graduates never read a book again, and it's over 40%, like 43% of college graduates never read a book after they graduate college. So, constantly developing and educating yourself. And the one thing you want to offer to that woman is doing the right things. Being a good guy, and I understand there are lots of women who don't respect the good guy. So I'm not saying being a nice guy. In no way am I advocating being a nice guy. Nor am I advocating being mean or nasty. I'm just saying having your head together, pursuing your ambitions, being about something. And if you're a guy who's about something and you keep your head together, you constantly develop yourself, there's absolutely no reason that you have to tolerate a woman who is going to disrespect you, even if it's just accidentally part of her upbringing. You know, I don't care if it's from the first time you meet her. If she's being cold-hearted and she is interested, I've seen women do crazy things where they stare at you and then try to be cute and bitchy. I think some woman wrote a book several years ago about how men like bitchy women. Don't tolerate that. Except for you to really successfully get away with that, you really have to be a good guy who's got it together. So what I'm advocating to men is have your head together and have zero tolerance for nonsense from women. And if every man does that, then what they will be left with are the bums, right? And that will be the fate that they created for themselves. But if every guy does that, then women will step up and team up, partner, and learn the rules of engagement to be in a relationship, which has nothing to do with playing games and being chased and making her feel good. Hell, if a woman comes to you and feels like you are responsible for making her happy, let her die on a vine. It's no one's job to make another person happy. That's what you bring to the relationship. When people ask, what do you bring to the table? You bring your own happiness. You're an adult. So, fellas, I'm saying a couple of things. Have yourself together. Zero tolerance for games. And it doesn't mean you be violent and you yell and scream. You just call a woman on her stuff right from the beginning. Be responsible. If you do think that's something that's inappropriate, be responsible. Clean it up. You make a mess, clean it up. That's it. It's simple. If you're trying to game and you're trying to have lots of different women and side chicks, then you're definitely not being a good guy. So I'm advocating being a good guy. Be straight with your woman. Be clear about your expectations. If she doesn't understand them, you sit her down and you talk to her. Doesn't mean you yell or scream or demean her. You help her understand. I mean, we live in a country where women are told they're supposed to compete with us. Don't tolerate that. Be a good guy. Treat a woman well. Do not let her lead you. And that's from day one. Many of you allow a woman to lead you because you think, well, I'm just going to get the sex. I have to do this to get her. Forget that. If every guy says I won't tolerate that, they'll stop. But you have to have it together. So, if this is something we need to talk about on my talk show, let me know. Put some comments, and we can talk this out with the men and women. It's not a woman's place to decide what it means to be a man. So women are out of line when they start talking about real men. That is not their place. I'd like to hear comments from you, likes, dislikes, and what sort of topics do you think we should be discussing as men that will help us be better, not only in our relationships, in building the community. I mean, ultimately, that's what we want. We want a community that actually has power, that can actually have the kind of power that decides what happens in our community. So, love to hear your thoughts. Look for the next topic for this Sunday's show coming up on Straight Talk. And I thank everyone for your participation and being part of the show in this group. Thank you. Bye.